pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please remain standing for prayer. Loving God, God of creation, we give thanks for this home we call Bastrop, for its beauty and resources, so great that Stephen F. Austin planted a seed of community here, and the Mexican government in 1832 established it as a town, the first settlement in Central Texas. And we give thanks for the generations who have built on that foundation and sustained the civilization. May this generation of ours continue in the same path as we persevere and work to preserve the past and make progress for the future for the sake of all our citizens. Amen. Please be seated. We're privileged today to have no battery in my pack. Anybody got a battery for this thing? If there's anybody on your staff, Mike, that can do that, I would appreciate it. Meanwhile, I'll try to speak up. We are privileged today to have as our character speaker Avery Coy, who is an incoming freshman at Bastrop High School. She lives at 127 Boca Mono in Tahitian Village. And she will, at the middle school, from which she just graduated, she was president of the middle school, National Junior Honor Society, treasurer of student council, treasurer of the 4-H, cheerleader, and she plays tennis and club volleyball. Avery.
Good evening. I was asked to come give a speech today, and it just so happened to be on honor. It was kind of funny because the first thing I thought came to my mind was, oh, what a great honor. But once I really began to think about it, I had to really define what honor was to myself. Usually we think of honor as honoring our soldiers and veterans or honoring loved ones that have passed away. While this is very important, ordinary people can be honored as well. Everybody is a hero in their own way. Honor is a synonym for respect and recognition, meaning somebody does not have to be on the higher class to receive honor. Many people do honorable things every day without any recognition and continue to do these things. They may not be honored directly for these actions, but our society honors them every day unconsciously because people do the right things. People doing the right thing is pivotal for our society to remain civil. Honor is not something you are taught, but rather you learn it on your own by your own instincts. It is crucial to honor people to let them know how much you appreciate their work. In general, honor just means to show people gratitude and to be kind. So next time you see somebody doing something extraordinarily good, and give them kudos for it. You never know how much a small act of kindness will impact their lives in the long run.
Thank you, Avery. Parents, Nancy and Jackie must be very proud of you, as we are. This is our character trait for the month of honor. Is there anyone who would like to make any further comments about honor?
Excellent speech.
Well, I appreciate what you had to say to us. I think the value of honor and integrity is something that, as people who have the public trust, those of us sitting here in front of you, have to bear in mind, every month. And I know that from your perspective, it comes to us at a good time. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I'll now try to see if this works. What do you think? Is that better? Can you hear me? No? I'll try higher. Sure, to make this work. move to proclamations. And the reminder that all of us should turn our phones off. Thank you for reminding us that. We have two proclamations. The first one concerns Juneteenth. Because the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law by President Lincoln on January 1st, 1836, however, and we begin the proclamation, whereas Texas did not receive word of this proclamation until June 19, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger sailed into Galveston Island and issued a general order declaring that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. And whereas this year marks the 151st anniversary of the law, and whereas Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, is an annual holiday originating in Texas but celebrated in over 35 states, the District of Columbia, and internationally. And whereas in 1979, Texas State Representative Al Edwards sponsored House Bill 1016 in the legislature, which was signed by Texas Governor Bill Clements, making Juneteenth an official state holiday in Texas. And whereas the Bastrop Juneteenth Committee is celebrating its 27th anniversary as an organization officially celebrating the event. And whereas on Saturday, June 21st, 2014, the celebration continues with a grand parade featuring Great Marshal Reverend Lawrence J. Thorne, the Blue Flame Cruisers Car and Motorcycle Show at Bastrop City Hall parking lot, a variety of family and school reunions that will be held throughout the city, and the ever-popular free street dance in downtown Bastrop. And whereas visitors and local citizens continue to enjoy the history, culture, and festivities of this special event, the third weekend of June in Bastrop each year. And whereas the Bastrop Juneteenth Committee, in partnership with the City of Bastrop Kerr Community Center Board, the Blue Flame Cruisers, and numerous other sponsors, organizations and individuals who make this event an annual success. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bastrop City Council joins the Bastrop County Commissioners Court in recognition and celebration of the 29th Juneteenth anniversary on the 21st day of June 2014 in the city of Bastrop, Texas. In witness, we, members of the City Council and members of the Commissioners Court, affix our signatures and seals. And I have and I'll pass it down to the other City Council members. We'll get the others as we go. And I'm going to change the order a little bit with unanimous consent. If somebody's got a problem, let me know. And I'd like to call on former City Council member Bill Peterson, who was asked to speak under citizen comments, but on this subject. And I think we'll get, once we get this signed, we'll give you the proclamation and ask you to speak now.
First of all, I would say thank you, Mayor and Council and City Manager, for all of your support for us to keep Juneteenth viable and living in Bastrop County, Bastrop City, Bastrop, and Bastrop County. Because it was faltering a little bit, but there's a few of us that still work together to keep hope alive, if you will. But we'd love to keep this an annual event, and the City of Bastrop has been more than supportive to keep this event going. And I just want to come to the United States. Thank you all so very, very much. Mike and your staff have been so very helpful. And I just want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Will you receive the proclamation from Councilmember Gilliland? We'll get it.
Is it
You have it down there? Have you got it? Where do we do it? I gave it to you.
Is that it?
No, I gave it to you.
Thank you. Yellow.
Oh, it's yellow.
President,
We're working it together. We'll get it together. We'll work it down and we'll finish it up. And I want you to have tonight, whoever you want to join in receiving.
you know, Claire Haywood is our president of the Juneteenth Committee. And she's representing the Juneteenth Committee, and I'm representing the Blue Flame Car Motorcycle Club. And again, thank you very much.
1 second. Tell us who you are, and then we'll let you on.
Well, everybody knows Miss Clay, and
because they have been more supportive, and they always, when we have events, they always come out and support. So I want to say thank you, and I'm really, of course. And I'd also just like to say thank you all for the support and help.
See you on the 21st.
All right, thank you.
Can I just say, it is a community-wide celebration. We all have to celebrate freedom whenever we get the chance. And I think it's important that we all know how important this is for all of us. So thank you for remembering to come up and tell us that.
The second proclamation was initiated by the multiple award-winning Main Street program. Through countless acts of kindness, generosity, and service, Bastrovians are all bound together, working to improve the quality of life in our community by giving of ourselves to others and caring for those around us. Every day, Bastrovians carry forward the tradition of service embedded in our character as a people. We celebrate Bastrop's Volunteer Month and embrace our shared responsibility to one another and recommit to the task of building a unified community for our children. Now, whereas this year I declared June as Bastrop Volunteer Month to recognize this hard work, dedication, and passion of many volunteers in our city, and whereas the city of Bastrop commemorates National Volunteer Month and recognizes its valued volunteers during the month of June, with a reception to be held in their honor on Wednesday, June 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Bastrop Community Center, located at 1408B Chestnut Street in Bastrop, Texas. And whereas experience teaches us that government alone cannot solve all our nation's social problems, so we have focused on partnerships with businesses, faith-based organizations, nonprofit organizations, and individuals to make a difference. And whereas the city of Bastrop believes that a tangible and sustained effort must be made to provide relief for families and meet the diverse needs and challenges of our residents may be facing because of the economic crisis. And we intend to do this through our plans for Bastrop's future citizens. And whereas the city of Bastrop is committed to encouraging volunteerism among its employees, partners, businesses, organizations, and citizens, and whereas the city of Bastrop recognizes that volunteering improves our quality of life and increases community participation and ownership, and whereas volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive city, thousands of volunteers working in our community utilize their time and talent daily to make a difference in the lives of children, adults, and elderly. Now therefore, I, Ken Kessels, Mayor of Bastrop, do proclaim June as Bastrop Volunteer Month in the city of Bastrop, and urge our fellow citizens to volunteer and put their hearts into volunteerism in their communities throughout the year by volunteering and recognizing those who serve, so that we can promote partnership, understanding, compassion in our community. And I think receiving this will be Sean Fletch for the Main Street program.
I'm the chair of one of the 4 committees of the Main Street program, the organization committee. We're particularly committed to the volunteers, and we're commemorating the anniversary of opening the Volunteer Center here in Bastrop. And I'm so gratefully appreciative of the city's help in doing that for us. We've invited both current and prospective volunteers and organizations that need volunteers. We've had quite a bit of success in the last year in providing meeting space for various different kinds of organizations, and we look forward to all of y'all coming for cookies. I think we're in cupcakes, actually, sweeten the deal, from 4 to 6 on the 25th. Thank you.
Thank you. And, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'd just like to say a huge thank you to the volunteers of Bastrop. We would not function the way we do, we would not have the quality of life we do without the strong, huge volunteer force that we have. I will be there on the 25th, I believe it is. I hope everyone else, I urge you to come and thank the people who spend so much time helping us be a good Bastrop. Thank you.
And I want to make a informal verbal proclamation that builds on that. We've been volunteering and helping since 1832, not 7. We have finally gotten our official seal to say 1832, representing the beginning of when we became a city under Mexican authority. And pleased to point out that June 6th, 1832 was the day that we became a part of the Mexican nation as a city, and have continued ever since. I can dare say there's thousands and thousands of volunteers who have participated since that point in the life of this community. And I hope that Sandy being present to lead us in the pledge and my prayer tonight demonstrates the value that we have. I hope everyone will recognize our birthday, 182 years as a city throughout this next week. We now reach a point for citizens' comments, and we need any citizen who wants to speak just to fill out a quick little form so we know who you are. Do I have any?
I'm sorry, I didn't tell that one, but
I've got Gary, you fill that one? I don't have it. So, thank you. I knew that Gary Schiff wanted to speak. Gary, would you please address it?
My name is Gary Schiff, and I'm the Vice Chairman of the Board of the Bastrop Economic Development Corporation. And earlier this week, I had an opportunity to meet with the mayor talking about his goals for BEDC and how we might work together with the city. And one of the things that he discussed during the meeting was a desire to move our meetings to the city council chambers to better accommodate visitors. We're currently meeting in the boardroom of the BEDC, which is a small boardroom that sits all of us at a table, and there's maybe another 8 or 7 chairs for visitors to come. It's an intimate environment, and it actually works well for the meeting, but I'm not sure it works as well for public visitations and participation. But anyhow, I told him I was vehemently against our moving to this facility. It's a beautiful facility, but the sound in here stinks. And if anybody could understand the young lady that got up, I mean, you could probably hear when projecting toward you, but people behind the person at this position in general cannot understand what's going on by the speaker. And even the council members and mayor, typically you got to concentrate really hard to hear. This room is too reverberant for the purposes that it's to be used. And the sound system that's in here, just by observing it, even though I don't know the details of it, I am a registered professional engineer, did design sound systems for many years, and am involved daily with sound in my personal life. It's the wrong system for a room that's poorly designed for acoustics. I did offer on multiple occasions to assist the city. The city manager has said he would get the communications representative, whatever his name is, in touch with me, and that's never happened. I am willing to volunteer my services for free to help the city in improving sound, acoustics, and the sound system in this room, and that's what I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Deputy Moore, Bastrop Development Commission.
Thank you, Mayor, members, and Ms. Calvin. Just wanted to let you know, in case you saw people run fighting on the street with police escorts last Saturday or Sunday, that we have to film that was shooting driving scenes in downtown Bastrop. They started out on Highway 969 on Saturday, and moved into the First National Bank on Main Street on Sunday morning, and then they were driving around town. So nothing got closed, all the streets were open, people could park, people could shop. we brought a little bit of money into the town, and the film is Hot Air. So keep.
What was the name again?
Hot Air.
Hot Air.
And one of the stars, whose name I can't remember at the moment, she even changed clothes in the bathroom of High Cotton. So that's another claim to fame that had. So we continue to bring it here big and small. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other individuals who would like to speak on some topic that's not on the agenda? Thank you very much. It's apparent that Councilmember Joe Beal and Don Jackson are not able to be with us this evening. In terms of announcements, do we have any others than that? City Manager's report, Mike.
You received my written report yesterday afternoon. I apologize for the length, but it's just a reflection of the activities that we had going on here. The first item I'd like to touch on briefly is item number 4. It's kind of a convoluted issue, but we have been designated as public access channel. And that was done back in the 80s when cable TV first came to being. And so the license of the channel is actually the city's name. Correspondingly, best I could determine, around 2000, around that time, the city began funding Upstart to operate some programming and has funded Upstart to film the council meetings and City Talk, which they have consistently done. But there are two distinct issues. One is programming and one is the channel. And there has been a PEG fund that was established by the government, the federal government, and we have collected some monies from those fees. But there are very significant restrictions on those fees and how they can be spent. Pretty much has to be focused on using the public access channel for equipment and stuff for sending out your program. I do need to continue to do a little bit more work, but if it's the desire of the council, I know it's the desire of Upstart, that they would like to operate the channel, that's one agreement. And then the other channel, the other issue is how much money do you want to spend in the program. So that's what I'm sifting through, and especially if they come to council and ask for money from the PEG fund, we have to know what it's going to be for. We'll have to inventory it and make sure it stays on our city assets, because in 3 years, they may not be the one operating the TV station, and we certainly don't want equipment that was paid for by the PEG fund to walk off from the president. So there's just a lot of things that have got to be worked out and segregate these two entities. So I'm working on that, and it'll probably be a budget topic, and but I'll try to have this more clarified down by our first meeting in July. Secondly, I attended the Main Street board meeting this past week ago. Nancy and I discussed with them at staff level, we've been working on parking issues for the island. It seemed to be the consensus of the board that we stripe such a manner where there's 2 stripes and a back stripe. And if the car or vehicle is sticking out over the back white stripe, then it shouldn't be there. We're working on drafting an ordinance to that effect, and we'll have it to you as quickly as we can. It is the recommendation of the board that you take that into consideration. Form-based code continues to proceed. They met on June 5th. They did again want me to remind you that they would like to have a joint meeting with the council on June 24th, starting at 5:30 p.m. The 2 topics they want to discuss: the status of the project and to review the market study being done by the consultants for the feasibility of form-based codes, and to discuss the content and format of the workshops to be scheduled for July. Mrs. McNally advised me yesterday that she'll have her report on the visioning task force for the next council.
Mike, can I just say a couple of things? Sure. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please do.
We will have a full report for you on the 24th, council. I just wanted to say that we are making good progress in the vision group, which was voted one of the top 10 priorities by the city council for our work to try and envision Bastrop in a few years' time. We are currently reviewing the 2001 comprehensive plan. Once that is reviewed at our next meeting at the end of July, we'll be able to give you even more direction, information about more direction that we're looking at. We have also had a wonderful meeting with Jim Bob Millen from the Texas Commission on the Arts, who has shown us wonderful opportunities for Bastrop in the arts field. So we are looking to establish a cultural arts district, or revitalize it, I should say. And I will bring you up to date on that next meeting.
That caused me to pause back to item number 3. I did put the composite rankings of your sheets in the report today. They'll be for a future discussion, but I thought they were interesting how they came out. We're actually down to 14 was too tight, so we'll count it at 14. But I do ask you to study those. This is a topic that's been back and forth with the council several times, so we decided to really get into it. But in the short, Lakely Lane behind Burleson Crossing was not considered when they created their traffic impact analysis. The TIA did not consider speed, it did not call or assume that stop signs would be installed, and the TIA is silent on the classification. Transportation code classified in the urban district means that a territory adjacent to, including a highway, if the territory is improved infrastructure and used for businesses, and that's driveways and such. That is not out there. So, we feel comfortable in recommending to the council that we'll be preparing an ordinance, which I'll read blank, that if you desire, you can raise the speed limit to 40 to 45 miles an hour, and we are within compliance with transportation.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Does anybody think it's a mistake for them to spend some time working it out? Work it out, and plan for us to raise the speed limit on Nancy like that? Seems like a good plan. I mean, I don't want to waste Mike's time if we're not going to do it.
I brought it up last year, it just sat here, nobody wanted to do anything, police didn't want to do anything with it, and they, I don't know what the reasons were, now all of a sudden, a year later, we're ready to go. I'm for it, I was for it last year. I think at least 45 ought to be on the road. I don't know if 50 is too much, but I think at least 45.
A lot of the transportation codes, you could go all the way up to 60 because of what, and we didn't think that was safe, but let me just say that over time, when development occurs out there, that street will change in its usage, and then you'll have to reconsider it. But we took into factor what the transportation code said, compared to what the TIA did, which did not address the street. And one thing I would say, Mr. Del Rosa, is that we probably just didn't spend enough time doing the research we did the first time around. So I'm wrong.
If we get there.
Yep. Item 13, many of you may have attended the seminar at Green Expo on the Lower Colorado River Basin Coalition. I do think it's something we should become involved in. Put a lot of information in your packet, but they have classifications for individuals, businesses, and counties and cities. And a city participation would be $500. And I do think the city background
But you're repeating the amount.
500 for cities, because they classified us as city.
That's a business.
That's a business. We're in the see, I went back and looked real quick for me. We got individual classification of business, which has several levels of sponsorship, and then government, it's city and county, and city and county, and one other government agency. And we fall under that category, so that's
What the right is the most they're asking.
more at this point.
So are we posting for action on that?
You can take action.
So your recommendation is?
I think we need to come forward. I think it has a big impact, based upon the concern that has been expressed in the community about the quality of the Colorado River. I think it could have a significant impact if you, especially if you went to the seminar on Saturday.
Mr. Mayor, could I move that we ask Mike to spend $500 to make us members of the Colorado Coalition?
You may move that. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Gilman, any discussion? We're ready to vote, Elizabeth.
Council McInerney?
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliland? Thank you.
Yes. Call.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah.
Phillips, I thank you.
All right, by 3-0 unanimous vote, we have happily joined with a coalition that will put us on the same page as those who are working to make sure we actually have a river down below Austin. Thank you very much, Mike. Okay, next.
That's a quick summary. It was a rather extensive report. I had to stop writing, reached the point where I couldn't write anymore, so I stopped.
Just a question about the roof at the farmer's market. You're satisfied that if you know the direction you want to go, if we think something different, we should tell you, is that right?
That's correct, and I don't think the city should spend money to fix the roof unless we take it over.
Any questions, comments, or advice, further action from the city manager?
Mike, Mayor, if I could, I know Mike is leaving tomorrow, or going to be gone for a while. At Monday's BDC meeting, which probably have a little discussion on number 6, as far as the Main Street sidewalk program.
Yes, we've got 8 easements in already.
Okay, maybe some meeting in July, we can, maybe the first meeting, we can talk about it a little more after our BDC meeting.
We're pleased that at this point we got 8 in, and that's a pretty good response. And now we're doing the mass mailing this week
Okay.
to follow up. So
All right.
we should be by July, hopefully at 50% mark.
Okay.
And you'll mark that down for a conversation in July in one of our meetings, just an agenda item. Agenda item? Well, it's just a report. Agenda item, okay.
Or you can just include it in one of his reports.
Okay, just so we
take any action we can.
All right, either way, Mike, whatever is your judgment. I would like to ask you to consider, Kenny and I had a pretty long conversation today about, or not long, but some conversation about how much this town is becoming kind of an art center, art, I call it a destination place, I don't know if that's right or not, but, you know, we've got some conversation going on about upgrading the arts and public places to a board instead of just a task force, and I wonder if it wouldn't, before we do that, if it wouldn't make sense for us to find the right people to sit down and just sort of brainstorm whether or not we want to have a comprehensive arts council or something like that. I don't have any, I know we've got some people that we can talk to, Mr. Jim Bob has some thoughts about that, and you may, and there's probably a lot more going on than meets the eye. So I'd just like to see if you wouldn't put some thoughts together on that, and then we got a bunch of heads we can put together, a lot of brains on that, maybe we can find the right thing for us going forward. Thank you. Anything else for the city manager?
Just study those ranking sheets.
We have a consent agenda, and we'll vote on all in one motion. If there's not a council member who wants to take an item off the agenda, is there anyone who wants to do that?
Yes, I would like to take A4 off the agenda for, I would just say that I have a few appointments and reappointments, 2 of them, that I would like to reconsider. So either we can take the whole thing off and then discuss it, whether we should be fine with it or just put
Well, let's take A4 off, and then we'll get some advice about how we can handle that, whatever you want to do. Kelly.
Okay.
So, anything else?
Move to approve A1 through 3.
Through 3. Second, is there a second?
Second.
What's your call, Ron?
Mayor Pro Tem Rosa,
Yes.
Councilmember McAnally,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliland.
Yes.
Okay, we now have item A4 before us, which are board appointments and reappointments, and confirmation by the council. Can you state to the city attorney, acting city attorney, review, see if we can figure out what to do, or you want to make sure it's okay or whatever?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions about some, one of the appointments and reappointments. I don't know if there's any other council members that have questions too. I at least want to address those two for myself. Anybody else can address the other two? Aren't we going to put this on the Ds?
No, it's A4, we just deal with it separately from the
Okay.
consent.
All right, I have two concerns here. The appointment of number F on appointments to the Hunters Crossing Local Government Corporation Board.
Give us another, I don't see.
Oh, sorry, number 11 on reappointments. Let me go to the reappointments first. For the Hunters Crossing Local Government Corporation Board, number 11. A member of 4-Star has been asked to be reappointed to that position. I believe that's a conflict of interest, and I do not believe we should appoint a person from 4-Star to the PID.
Let me ask you this, let me ask you this, let me make sure I understand what you're saying. Could we eliminate some of the items that we deal with separately and vote on the others altogether?
You may.
So why don't you name the numbers and we'll give us the opportunity.
I would like to withdraw number 7 for the Impact Fee Committee and Planning and Zoning Commission for the appointments, and number 11 for the Hunters Crossing Local Government Corporation Board.
Okay. Will, you have anything?
I was going to ask on number 6 on the top, is that part of number 11, is that different?
6 is, it's not an appointment, but I'll ask Sam. I had a conversation with somebody today, and I'm ready to make an appointment, but it's not posted. So could I talk about it, at least tell you what's going to come up for the next meeting on that?
You're posted to talk about individuals who can be appointed, so.
But I mean, I couldn't actually make the appointment tonight and let them decide.
No.
Okay, but I can talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so I will talk about number 6. Kelly, you got anything?
I do have a couple.
Yeah.
I know that I'm new to this, but the information provided to me in the packet seems insufficient to make a choice to approve or disapprove some of these. There's no application for Mr. Osborne, number 1. We just received the application from Mr. Moore at this meeting. Mr. McDonald filled out his application, but there's no information on it other than his name. We don't know where he works, who he is, what he does. I'm not sure about Mr. Dildine. I know that you received a recommendation to put him on that particular board, but we haven't heard from him. Does he even want to serve? I don't know anything about him. I'm a little nervous to approve any of these people without this information.
Okay, so you've named 1, 2, 3, and 5, is that correct? And Willie is named 6, and so have I. Kay is named 7 and 11, and I will name number 5.
Also, Mr. Rogers on number 10, his application.
Number 10, okay.
Just has his name, it doesn't say anything else about him, even though we know him.
Okay.
I think we should have more information before we vote.
Are there others?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I know how hard you work to make these appointments, and thank you for that. And I know, thank you to everyone who stepped up to the plate in this volunteering time. One of the problems I see in this is that the process that we usually go through has been somewhat changed. And it seems to me to be reasonable, what Kelly's saying, is for us to have the same information you have about these appointments. All of the information about the people that we can get, and also the other people who have applied for these positions, and then have 2 weeks to review so that we can ask our questions to ourselves and find out a little bit more about it. I think that's the process that we've used in the past, is we were told as a council who the people who applied were, and then we had 2 weeks to ask questions, and then the next time, the mayor would make his appointments, and we would either support or not support those appointments. That's the way we've done it in the past, and it seems like a very transparent and fully informational way to handle that process. So I would like to say I'd like for that process to be returned. Maybe we can avoid some of these issues.
Mike, as I recall, we used to have, when I first came on the council, the mayor would submit some names and then give people time to think about it and put them in. The city attorney said we couldn't do that, and we started using the process we have here. Is that correct?
I don't recall the city attorney speaking about that, and I just may have missed it because I really don't get involved in board appointments. But I do recall Mayor Orr did, for a period of time in advance of making the appointments, give the names to the members and said, I'll be putting on this on the agenda for the next meeting. Sam is, there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Unless Joe Christian told the council something that I was wasn't aware of.
As far as I'm aware, there's a process for appointments in Article 1.04. Whether or not that's been changed, I don't know. I'd have to talk to Ms. Brown. But
Can you speak into that, Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a process for board appointments in Article 1.04 on how the postings would work and how the applications would be submitted. I don't know if we've changed that. I'd have to speak with Ms. Brown.
I'm not aware of any changes.
No, the only issue that I think is in question is the point that Councilmember McInerney made, is I do recall Mayor Orr doing exactly as she said, that he would announce to the council under announcements that I have this individual that I'm going to be submitting for appointment to whatever board at the next meeting.
Sure, no, there's no problem.
And then that gave the council 2 weeks. Now, I don't recall Ms. Brown saying there was anything wrong with that, but I could have missed something.
Yeah, well, I'll just say what I remember is that he quit doing that, and he said, I may have assumed that he was talking about the conversation with JC, but he said he was going to quit doing that. He hadn't done that he didn't do that for the last 3 or 4 years of his time when he used this process here.
Towards the left, for sure, for last year and a half, not all that process.
I am not aware of that, but it seems to me that if we have a process in place that has not been changed, that we ought to stick to the process until we decide to change it.
I would say I'm sticking to the process that Tara used for as long as I can remember. I mean, except for that time earlier, and I think it's several years ago.
Can you just read what the process says, the legal one that we have?
Appointments to city boards shall
And you're
be...
gonna have to put that mic closer,
Is it on?
if you can. Sorry.
Appointments to city board... Appointments to city boards shall be made pursuant to the following procedures. At the direction of the mayor, the city secretary will post notices at City Hall as vacancies in established places or new places become available for appointment to city advisory bodies. In April of each year, the city will provide notice of openings on the city's advisory boards through local newspapers, the city website, other media sources, and/or other appropriate means. The city secretary will promulgate application forms for advisory bodies and shall provide same to persons interested in appointments to the city's advisory bodies. The city secretary will provide the applications received by the city to the city council for the council members' review, evaluation, and consideration. The mayor will select his or her desired appointees from among those applications provided by the city secretary and appoint those persons selected by him, her, and such individuals were served on the advisory bodies subject to the concurrence of the council. Unless otherwise controlled by state or local law, any appointee may be removed for cause or no cause at the will of the council.
So I would like to return to that process. I think for all of us to have, we all have to decide if the appointments are something individually, we have to decide if that's something we support or not. And if we don't have the information in time to act on that information, I don't think we're doing our jobs. So I would like to say we return to what is in our code there.
What's your advice about where we stand at this point now?
If the procedure you've been doing for some time is working for you, you can change this without knowing whether or not it's been changed. My only recommendation would be to go with what's in the ordinance, unless there's something Ms. Brown has advised.
I just think that it was informally discussed between the mayor and the previous city secretary that, at least for the advertisement, that they did put it in sometimes and sometimes they didn't. They have not been consistent year after year putting the notice in the paper.
And if I may add one more item, is that when I met with Mayor Orr, he did request the application for his review when he placed them on the agenda for appointments. He did say that it was at his discretion and he would choose the person that was going to be appointed and it was going to be confirmed by the council. So that's.
Well, I would say that may be an informal interpretation, but until we vote to change it, we should go by what is in place already. And maybe we can just, are we allowed to decide tonight if we want to go by what's in there?
If you want to change it, you'd have to post to change it if you want to go by what's in here, or if the mayor would like to change it. I wouldn't recommend doing it this evening.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's posted for that.
It's not posted.
It's not posted for appointments.
Okay.
So any changes you want to make, you want to put on the next agenda, or if there is not an instruction to put on the agenda, that's, to me, the instruction that we follow is currently in place.
Well, the question is, what do we do about the agenda item A4?
Based on what I've heard, I would pull it entirely.
Okay. So what happens if we don't make these appointments until July? Is that okay, since we're scheduled to do it in June?
It would be okay. My understanding is that the city policy on this is to allow holdovers. I was able to look at the P&Z, and it does do holdovers. I also looked at the Hunters Crossing LGC, and they allow holdovers. Whether or not the other boards do, I'd have to look at them specifically, but it's generally in the best interest of the city to allow holdovers. Otherwise, there could potentially not be a quorum, and we wouldn't be able to operate. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, except for I think the construction standards board that's not been active at all anyway, and the Hunters Crossing local government board, we've got a quorum regardless of what we do. So we can start that out. So I'm going to, before pulling this entirely, bringing it back up in July, I want to ask the city council members to state so that Elizabeth can write down what it is that you want to know about. You know, what kind of detail you want to know about people, and is it a certain individuals or everybody in general? So let's yeah.
Why can't we vote on it on the next meeting on the 24th of June?
Because I'm not going to do it.
If we have a quorum, couldn't we?
You could, but I'm not going to make any appointments on the 24th.
So would you say we need to vote on it the first council?
Well, it depends on what y'all want. We're going to have to get some information together. So what I need to know now is what you want, so that you can feel comfortable with your consideration, with your part of the appointment process. So that's what I'd like to have you all explain to Elizabeth, or as best you can, and we'll try to get that information together.
I guess what you're asking, if everybody's on this list, on this left-hand column, do they want to see an application in that packet?
I don't know, now, I don't know what you want, I'd like to know what
That's
you
what
want.
I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, is it a,
Is that what
I
Charlie?
mean, I think Kelly's concern is that there wasn't enough information on some of the applications. And so, I guess my question is, what level of information do you want?
Do you want all of you?
Firstly, I agree with Kelly that the application needs to be complete and completely filled out, and we do need an application for everybody before we assume that they want to serve. Secondly, I would like to see all the applicants that have been put forward for each position and look at all of them in case something goes wrong, so we have something else and someone else to look back on. And I think I'll start with there. Anybody else got any comments?
I would just ask that, are you satisfied with the current application that the city has, as long as it's filled out properly?
I would say yes.
Okay. But I will say one little deviation here. It has been the practice and all the will of the council, but since I've been back, if you're an existing board member, the previous mayor just asked that you submit a letter expressing your desire to be reappointed. Now, if you want them to fill out a application, not a problem, we will get that done. But existing board members were only asked to submit a letter saying they want to continue to serve.
No, I think that letter process for existing board members is fine.
Okay.
I'm just.
Well, I'll ask that let's just make it complete, because these are all new appointments, whether they agree or not. Let's just do the whole process for everybody, so there's no question about anything. All right, now I can't do anything about the fact that, Sam, about the fact that the previous mayor and the city secretary did not post something in April that you described. What can we do to make up for that deficit?
What does that mean?
Well, would you read it again, please?
The entire section?
The thing about April.
Just the posting? In April of each year, the city will provide notice of openings on the city's advisory boards through local newspapers, the city website, other media sources, and/or other appropriate means.
So what's your advice to us about making up for that mistake?
It would be up to the council. They could go back and do the posting and put it off and have holdovers, or they could waive that provision if they chose not to. Whatever you'd like to do.
And so would that be something we would vote on tonight, or say we wanted tonight, like have the information posted in the newspaper? Is that something we do tonight, or do we need another council meeting to discuss that and then do the appointments? What do you think, Sam? I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I know I am.
No, I think, are we close enough, Mike? Would you agree for them to take that or no?
I think it's very limited tonight. It just says board appointments and reappointments and nothing else. So I know we're trying to correct a past oversight, but I don't think the agenda gives us that latitude tonight.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so I would recommend that, I know you're not going to be here, Eric, we postponed till July, but we could put on the June 24th agenda, action by the council to waive the advertisement requirement in the ordinance, so that the applications that you have received, and we'll make sure it's filled, will be presented in July, and then we'll ensure that starting in April next year, that the ordinance is adhered to as Samantha has outlined. That's just one suggestion.
I think that would be fine if that's what you would like to do.
Well, let me say that I have become aware of the fact that we did do those postings. And one of the things I'm working with Elizabeth and the city manager on is, with the city secretary and the city manager, is trying to get a comprehensive calendar where we have everything that's really important written down on the calendar, we don't miss it again. And this will be one thing that if it is essential that we do that every April, we do that.
One thing I would really like to be sure is on the application is what other groups they belong to, so we can look for conflicts of interest, and also we need to know if they're currently where they are currently employed. So I think we have to really look out for
and I don't know if we're out of line here or not by discussing this, but we're not taking action, we're just giving advice. So the advice is that we put, like your advice is that we post for action on the June 24th meeting, that we waive the posting notice that we failed to do in April.
Right.
Okay, and that's legitimate.
Yes,
Okay.
council can do that.
All right?
So let me see if I understand, everybody on this left-hand column is gonna be re-notified that they have to fill out an application.
Yeah, that would be my choice, just to be fair to everybody.
I agree with
Because
that.
they're all starters. Actually, they're not, reappointment is probably a mistake. The truth is, these terms are up, and, the mayor is responsible for appointing them. And I think our practice in the past, and I've been trying to follow, what Terry did as much as I could. His opinion was, we just supposed to stay on and keep them on. But maybe the way to do this is to, take a look at everybody, give them a chance to reapply. Let me say what I did. I think it's appropriate. If it's inappropriate stuff, somebody stop me. But I wrote a letter to every body that was on a existing board whose term was up, and I discussed with them concerns that had been expressed to me over and over again during the mayor's campaign, that we have a limited number of people that serve on boards. It seems to be a closed group. It seems like new people can't ever get on, and nobody ever gets off the board. Maybe the same old people over and over again. So I pointed that out to all in a letter, the same letter I wrote to everybody, and said, your term's up. I would like you to consider that. That's something I hear a lot. If you have a passion for doing this and you feel like that your position on the board will enhance what we're doing, please let me know. On the other hand, if you're just kind of filling the spot because somebody asked you to do it, maybe you know it's time for you to retire. And so please give me a call and let's talk about it. So I could have a conversation with everybody I was going to appoint or reappoint. So, that's the kind of approach that I took to this. And I think that having them fill out the applications is consistent with that. So I think that we ought to consider, this is a very serious matter. Obviously, everybody here tonight says it's very serious. And we ought to consider it in terms of reapplications. And if the application that we have is appropriate, then let's just go with everybody.
Kim, I don't know about this, but I think you were talking about staggered. Do we need to address staggered?
That was addressed back when the charter was.
Well, I think we'll refer to this. The one thing that was a mistake, I think on my part, I pointed this out to a citizen at Hunter's Crossing, is that I did not realize that, and I'll take responsibility for this, that on the appointments of 10 through 14, those all say 2014 to 2017, and that was a mistake on my part. I didn't catch that. Elizabeth and I made a mistake on that, but it's my responsibility. That is a board that has never gone through the process of staggering their terms by drawing lots. As a matter of fact, it turns out, as a citizen out there pointed out to me, that says that in the bylaws that they're supposed to do that after 7 years. And I think we've reached that 7-year threshold some time ago, not currently. So those positions, once they're appointed, and they've essentially have to be reappointed every year at this point, so we're reappointing the entire board. So once that's done and they have a first meeting, then we'll be able to draw straws and stagger those positions out, so we have a 3-year rotation, like we do with everything else that we do, and unless it's a 2-year rotation because it's state law.
I just want to make sure the changes that you want on the application. Just for clarification, if you're an existing board member, all you're asking for is a letter of intent. You want a new application filled out?
That's what I'd like to have. That's what industry everybody's saying.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the importance of that is on the back of the application at the bottom, there's the date the application was received and who it was received by. And then, if the council takes action on that application, we'll put the date that they were appointed, or position they were appointed, the date that they were appointed, when their term starts and when their term ends. And that will help us stay on top of when terms become vacant or expire, so that we also, if there's a vacancy or something, we can keep track of that. So we'll do that.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure, Your Honor.
And let me ask this question this way. In what you were reading in what 1.04 or whatever it was, does it say that let me ask you this way. This has been going on for years where, I mean, is it going to be at the discretion of the mayor and council together that we're going to take applications from this point forward? Or is it something that's going to be incorporated in the language she was reading from? Because this deal, I remember when Tom Scott was mayor, and you were on the existing board, all you had to do was sign a letter, send it to the secretary, saying you're asking for reappointment. You didn't have to go through the whole process of filling that application again. And so here we are, some 17 years later, still arguing about whether we're going to fill out an application or let it to the city.
Well, my position, Willie, is there's so much interest in this and so much concern about knowing who's who and what's what. I mean, I don't expect Kelly to know who these people are that are real.
All I'm saying is that to keep this from being an argument every year, or say a new mayor comes in, let's incorporate it in that language there where it says, regardless if you're on an existing board or you a new appointee or a new application, you fill an application. That way, it's one set of rules for everybody, and we don't have the confusion that we're having tonight.
And I like that because people may have a different place of employment or different, be sitting on different boards after the same time, so we need to know that too.
Well, I think there's interest in that. Can you work that out? I mean, I'm going to declare it. I'm going to require it as long as I'm mayor, but let's go ahead and give the council a chance to codify it.
I'll try to have our rules, and so that we can keep moving, not try to all out the draft ordinance on the point.
Okay, good.
So
Can I get down one thing?
Sure.
So we gotta have, we gotta notify these people that have applied already, that are on this list tonight, and have it back by when to make it, so it'll be in the packet for the June, the first July meeting.
We'll work that out. If we can get it done, we'll get it done. No,
That was July, the second meeting in July.
I think we can get it done by then. So, I mean, Mike's trying to figure out what the call to get that done.
Sometime July, or,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of timing, and it may fall into the second meeting, but,
but we're not having to worry about any postings or anything, so that doesn't drag that in.
we're gonna wait that.
Okay.
Yeah, if y'all wait.
Yeah.
If y'all wait,
That's the one that's dragging in August and September.
I just want to, I think it's the feeling of the council, that's what I'm worried about, is getting these applications back, is that you want at least 2 weeks to review them. So I'm saying by the time you get these back, it may be falling into the second meeting in July.
Yeah, I see about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As long as we're all sure that people who are already on boards, can stay on until their reappointments.
We're gonna have.
We got to figure that out.
So that's like, it's gonna be on a board by board basis, and as Ms. Friedman has stated, we looked at 2 boards before coming in here tonight, and those 2 boards specifically stated that they're carried over until an appointment's made. We're gonna have to check all of those.
Yeah, we got two that can't function, but that's all.
Kelly wanted to say.
I didn't hear you, Mayor, I'm sorry.
I said we have 2 boards that, they won't be able to function unless they have a carryover clause. And one of them, for sure, is the construction standards, because there's 4 vacancies out of the 5 members. That's one reason I want to try to get that fixed, because it's been broken for a very long time. Okay? Yeah, Kelly, I'm sorry.
Mike, if you would, looking through this packet, it looks like there's more than one application form or more than one version of it. If you could make sure that everybody gets the same version.
Good point.
Here.
And I think if, it wouldn't hurt, Mike, if you have to revise it. If you just send it out to everybody, we can't take a vote on it, but you could get some opinions and try to get there's a consensus that comes in, so that we have a better chance of council members being happy with what we have.
What I'm gonna do is put a binder together for each council, and a tab for each board, the table of contents, and every time we get an application, we start getting applications in, I'm gonna sort them behind the tab.
Good. I appreciate seeing that.
You need a motion to postpone this?
I think that Sam suggested that I pull it off the agenda. It's my agenda item, and I'm going to do that.
Yes, sir.
We are now at item under public hearings, item B1. This is a public hearing regarding replat of lots 21 through 33 of Lot A in Hunter's Crossing, Section B. And there's 13 residential lots and 1 landscape reserve. Ms. McCollum?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Item B1 and B2 are considering the same item.
Melissa, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with that line.
Can you hear me now? Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Item B1 and B2 are considering the same item. This is a new plat, it's a re-subdivision of Hunter's Crossing, Section 5B. This is a recent subdivision that they're actually building out there in Hunter's Crossing. They originally had all the lot lines. This is 304 come back, but now they're making a landscape, kind of PUD landscape easement here. So this is why the plat is before us this evening. Staff is recommending this re-subdivision, and it's a good plat that now will have a shared maintenance of the landscape PUD easement in the back of those lots. We did notify for this, we have not received any comments.
Any questions, comments? I haven't heard from any citizens that want to speak on this. Now I'll declare the public hearing closed. We'll move to item B2. Ms. McCollum?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This would be that action item approving the replat, the re-subdivision of lots 21 through 33.
Are you recommending some kind of a vote?
Yes, please, if you would vote to approve this replat.
This is a one vote only deal?
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve these lots.
I'll say.
21 and 33.
Second by Kelly. Any discussion? Elizabeth, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliland,
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Aguilar.
Thank you very much. That passes on a 3-0 vote.
Thank you.
I've been advised by the city manager that item B3 and B4 are not ready to be considered. We don't have any old business. Under new business, consideration, discussion, acceptance of an unaudited monthly financial report for ending April 30. Ms. Stovall.
Our April 2014 financial report includes summaries regarding the general fund, water wastewater fund, backstop power line, and the hotel motel fund. April represents 7 months, or 58.33% for fiscal year 2014. Your April reports indicate general fund revenues reflect $6,266,132, or 71.49%. This is an increase in revenue receipts in comparison to the same time last year. Our general fund expenditures represent 51.88% of the budgeted amount, or $1,768,261. This also represents an increase in comparison to the total amount of general fund expenditures for last year. This increase is attributable to capital purchases located within the budget, the salary wage plan implementation, and other projects. Our water wastewater fund has earned $2,204,888, or 54.44%, and expenses of $1,711,322, or 53.04%. Revenues, again, appear slightly greater than last year as expenses appear less. Our backstop power lines earned $3,819,331, or 54.88% in revenue for the year. And the fund has incurred expenses of $3,759,203, or 54.57%.
Our revenues have increased in comparison to the same time last year. Our hotel fund has earned $1,320,041, or 56.59%. The HOP fund expended year to date of $1,382,729, or 58.76% of its budgets. Page 69 of your agenda includes a detailed financial summary of each fund that you may want to review if you're looking for additional information. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Feeling pretty good about this?
We're on target.
Any other questions or comments? We could use a motion to accept this report.
So moved.
Sorry, I'll second.
All right, Willie first. Okay, second. Please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Rosa?
Yes.
Councilmember McAnally?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodwin?
Yes.
Item D2, again, Ms. Stovall, opportunity to approve the Bastrop Marketing Corporation's request for reimbursement.
This is a monthly expenditure that we provide you all as a consent item. It was placed under new business for this month. I'm available to answer any questions you may have regarding this reimbursement.
I move to approve the Bastrop Marketing Corporation's request for reimbursement of expenses.
Second.
Any discussion? Elizabeth?
Councilmember McAnally?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rosa?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodwin?
Approved on a 3-0 vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your good and conscientious work.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
With Ms. McCollum approaching the microphone, we enter item D3 to discuss and maybe act upon council joint land use study.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item D3, I am hoping this evening that you will approve the city manager as well as the city executing or entering into an agreement to have Matrix Design Company Group help the city out with the joint land use study. The city has received an Office of Economic Adjustment grant for this joint land use study, and we did go out for requests for proposals in March. And city staff has graded the 5 proposals that we received. Matrix Design Group by far was the number 1 qualified proposal that we received. And with that, staff did take the proposals and grading to our newly formed joint land use policy committee, and they too recommended Matrix Design Group.
Any questions?
Drawing a blank. And
Yeah.
the reason I'm drawing a blank is, was that part of the committee or?
Yes.
Got some information on this. Mike, can you tell us a little more about, we're not having any money except
This is, we provide some staff support, the county provides some staff support, and there's volunteers from both the county, the city, and Camp Swift who serve on either the technical or the policy review committee. The federal government is funding this study. The officers at Camp Swift approached us about a year or so ago, and because of problems that they've had in other areas of the country where the military installation expanded beyond what they expected, they encountered some neighborhood oppositions and neighborhood problems. And at this point in time, they don't have any plans to expand Camp Swift, but try to be proactive. They're wanting to make sure that whatever they do in the future integrates in with the future land development on that area.
sorry. Kelly?
Will you tell us why you chose Matrix over the other companies? What set them apart?
Probably by far, we used this following grading criteria to evaluate all of the submittals. Matrix Design Group by far had the best qualifications. They've probably done 50 to 100 more particularly these joint land use studies, so they're very experienced with this. They're opening a new office in San Antonio. They have a lot of experience, not only in Texas, but throughout the country. And what even set them even more uniquely apart is they've had a lot of experience with Texas National Guard facilities, which are a little bit different from active duty service. So they even have experience with Guard establishments.
And what was that cost? Backing out a little bit.
They came in right at 112, I believe, 113 almost.
The government grant covers the whole?
Yes.
And the reason we're voting on this is we're the managing partner.
We agreed to manage the grant.
So, Melissa, what do you want from us?
I would like you to approve Matrix Design Group as the grantee or to help us out with the joint land use study, and then have Mike execute the 2 agreements to do that.
Is there a motion to do that?
I'll move.
Second.
At $112,820.
And the major design.
Design company, yes.
All right, any discussion? Will you call Mark?
Mayor Pro Tem De La Rosa,
Yes.
Councilwoman McNamara,
Yes.
Councilmember Doyle,
Yes.
Thank you, and we pass that on a 3-0 vote.
Thank you, Melissa.
We will now enter an executive session to discuss the following items. Council management attorney, is that correct, Mike? Yes, sir. And regarding Iron Forest Investment Group, matters which attorney has a duty to and responsibility to report to the government body concerning the same. And matters posted on the agenda. Real property, regarding purchase, exchange, lease, and disposal of value of real property, and personnel matters. We are now in executive session.